Okay, guys, let's put a block together. This is my Christmas assortment. We'll do it on it because I've already got the other one put together. You take your middle square, 3.5 inch, and this is your bottom piece. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't do this, but this is what you do. You extend this out and you only sew right here about, well, let's put it under here and I'll show you. Be sure that this is nice and even down here at the bottom. And that's sew about right there. Not much. And remember, have a very scant 1/4 of an inch or your block will not come out right. Now, you've got this little bitty part right there sewed. And I didn't turn my iron on, so it's going to take just a minute. But we want to press this right there. It seems odd. You know, you ordinarily start sewing up at the top and sew down. But they just want you to sew a little piece of it. And I'll show you how it's going to work out just beautifully. Let's see if this is hot enough to press just a little. You could have finger pressed, but I've kind of learned that finger pressing sometimes can distort your fabric. Okay, now we're going to put it back. Look, I'm looking at it, and this is my bottom piece. Well, this is my next piece over here on my side, my left-hand side. And if you've cut everything pretty good, now I want you to see, mine is just ever so slightly off a little bit right there. See that? It does not matter. It does not matter. If you come across something like that, it's okay because our next 1/4 inch seam will cover that up just fine. Be sure that you get your seam underneath there going the right way, the way that you pressed it. Fold it under so that it fits good under there. This is my hay baler machine. Works like a charm, but it's quite noisy. But I wouldn't trade it for anything when it comes to piecing. You can't beat it. All right, now we're going to press again. And I'm not showing you that, but you know when you press, just lay your iron on it. Don't rub. Just lay it on it and press your seam. And when I say press, I don't mean iron. And now we're to there. Okay, what we're doing is going counterclockwise. We're going clockwise. See how a clock always goes in that direction? All right, this is our top piece. And if we piece together good, it will be perfect. said many times on my videos that you have to find your perfect 1/4 inch seam on your machine. Every machine is different. And on mine, I achieved it by moving my needle over 1 position to the right. Because we want a scant 1/4 inch. All right, press. Now, this is where we started. Bottom piece is still not attached. Our side piece and our top piece. And now lay this over and put your next piece on. I'm going to press again. And this is what we have, okay? Now, how do you think that's going to work? Well, we're going to peel this kind of back, and we're going to put our seam right down there on the end where it goes. You see how that fits like a charm? Fits perfect. And we're going to sew to that seam. Now, what I recommend is go over it a couple of stitches. And it's the same effect as back stitching. To just go over your first seam. There's where I met my seams. And when you press this back and press it, it's perfect. And that's how we do our little block. So simple. So simple. Isn't that pretty? There's our sweet block. So simple. So easy. And now you're ready to go. You're ready to make these. You're ready to make this little topper and go for it. And in the next little segment that you'll see, I'll show you how to lay it out. Thank you. Guys, here's my top all put together. It's turning out pretty neat, isn't it? I think it's a good balance, and I'm happy with it. We'll take it. Okay. Use a very scant 1/4 inch when you put this together, and it will fit beautifully. And I double checked. I was going to square up my squares. I mean, if I cut anything off, it was a sliver. These measure 5.5 inches. These blocks, squares right here. When you get it put together, framed, it's 5.5 inches. Okay, our next step is to sew our 20 strips for the border together. Just alternate your colors. I tried to go pattern, solid, pattern, solid, pattern, solid, pattern. And the directions say to measure this, then measure this and cut off a piece and sew your two sides together. I'm not going to do that just because I had that happen to me one time before, and I was like 1/8 of an inch short. So what I'm going to do is put it on there, pin it, sew it, and trim it. And then, and I kind of picked and choose which side I wanted on here. I wanted to do the side pieces with this, so my lettering is up and down. And I will pick and choose for my other side, because I'm trying not to have the same centerpiece butted up against. I want my border different, if it'll work out that way. So I'm going to do the two sides, and then you'll do your two top pieces. And that's it, the top is finished. I honestly, if I would have sat down, I sewed the top all together in one day, one afternoon, honestly, but I got tired, and if I'd have continued, I could have done this all in one day. But I've just learned it's not that rushing, and I take my time. I'm not in a big hurry. Okay. That's it. Now, when you put these together, one other little comment, I pressed my seams open. I don't know why. I just thought it would lay better if I did that. They're not going to hit. You're not going to have to butt anything up, That's not the reason. I just thought it would lay better on there. That's my only reasoning. Okay, we'll come back when we get this all sewed on. Well, here it is, guys, all put together with the borders on. I'm basically very, very pleased with it, except I want to encourage you to do as I tell you and not as I do. I thought I would be smart and go ahead and I put my borders on, and then I thought, oh, I don't like that. I'm going to rearrange whatever. And I switched it around and cut it. I cut it before I did the bottom and the top. I cut the bottom before I should have. And anyway, here's my little tiny piece. Can you see that little tiny piece? And there's a little tiny piece. That's what happens when you try to mix and match. When you have your 20 borders long, put them on the side, sew it, and then trim it. Take it, and wherever you cut it off, put it on this side, pin it on, and then trim it after you've sewn it. Then do your bottom and do your top, and wherever it lies pattern-wise. Don't try to be perfect like I tried to be. Overall, nobody, I guess, would notice that but me and you, but non-quilters wouldn't. But anyway, what do you suggest for some binding? I think I'm going to have to do mix and match. I don't think I have enough of any one for the binding. So it's probably going to be a mix and match. And for my backing, I don't know if I have enough even for the backing. It might be a 3-part harmony, just 3 strips. I don't know what I'll do. But anyway, we're coming along. And then I got to thinking after I looked at it, well, how in the world am I going to quilt it? And you know, I have a leaf stitch on my machine that makes a pretty little vine. And I think that's how I'm going to quilt it. With that little vine. In maybe the cream color. So it'll show up. Oh, it's coming along very nicely. See, I don't like this being as close to that, but you know, you gotta just give it up. And you just gotta give it up and go with it, because it's gonna happen. Unless you have 28 different squares, totally different patterns, then it wouldn't happen. But anyway, and I do like the way my Hello Fall shows up real nicely, the lettering. I got that part pretty good, you know, in the middle. And this one is up and down. But this one is sideways, but this one's up and down too. So overall, it's okay. You know, we're always our worst critics, aren't we? All righty, I'll be back.